Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am coming to you today to talk about 10 facts that you are not aware of and need to be about this virus, this global pandemic that coronavirus is. And I'm also going to talk with you as a parent for many of you who have children and have altered schedules at home because our kids are now doing homeschooling and being self-educated, and you yourself are managing your time. So I'm going to give you some tips and resources to consider and implement to help all parties in your family stay healthy and well, mentally sane, together, and not at each other's throats. So welcome, everybody. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Instagram. I have both of you guys up. And I really want to try to make sure that these live shows are upbeat, they are refreshing, they're encouraging, they're empowering, supportive, engaging, and also that I equip you all with helpful, impactful information. And I know some of this may be some triggering information, and that's okay. Everybody kind of takes in this data differently, but I definitely do feel like my onus to many of you is just to give you a lot of powerful information. I've tried to really stay ahead of the curve in terms of the data that's out there, the communication I'm having with all of you, and then also with the activities and actions we're taking in our family. So welcome, everybody. I see Lois. For everybody tuning in, tell me where you are joining us and coming to this community live. And for all of you, please give me a thumbs up and like and share. I'm grateful. So welcome, Barbara, my tea, Green Beauty. Hey, good morning, everybody on Instagram. So, okay. So let's kick off with the latest kind of news. And I'm not going to be as detailed as I have been about the states. I mean, at this point, we have all 50 states here in the US. Across the world, numbers are moving up. The big tick is that we still have not enough testing. We don't have enough access. We don't have enough materials. But it is starting to trickle out. And because of that, we're going to see our numbers increase. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an indicator of the current day spread. More than likely, we're looking at a lag. And we've been lagging in the US by weeks, if not a month or two, and getting ourselves prepared. But here's where we're at. We have hit, and this was as of, I think, like 4:35 a.m. this morning. The US is at 9,480 cases. It's up almost 3,000 cases. But again, this is because testing finally we've seen an increase. I think they were only doing about 500 tests a day. So that's where we're at. But there are some noteworthy things to note about this. And we had on YouTube somebody comment about the kind of differentials in terms of the aging. And I dug into it a little bit further, as well as a study came out yesterday that details that this is not just an elder or older person disease, that in fact, 38% of the current cases, at least in the US, so this was US focused, 38% of the cases, the individuals are between the ages of 20 and 54. So I know the millennial community, we're going to, Brian and I are in the cusp, the earliest parts of millennial world, but the millennials are going to get a lot of hit and heat on this. And it's just something where statistics and data are what they are. It's not necessarily an indicator that we're not listening to information. I think across the board, a lot of people were not hunkering down and taking this seriously. But out of the ICU patients, half of the patients in ICU were actually individuals between the age of 20 and 44. So that's pretty significant, where we were originally kind of looking at data coming out of China, and it could very well be the kind of metamorphosis of the virus. There could be a lot of factors. What we don't know, the study did not identify any underlying conditions. So we don't know, of the half that are in ICU, between ages of 20 and 44, if these individuals have diabetes, if they're obese, if they have any type of underlying heart conditions, any type of respiratory challenges like asthma and whatnot. So we don't know that. But what we do know is that 20% of this age group between 20 and 54, they were hospitalized. So it is not, again, as I've said from the beginning, this does not discriminate. This is a virus that does not discriminate. And the data, the research section was based on, these cases starting on the 2nd of February. So between February 2nd to 3/16, which is earlier this week, 6% of the cases that we saw in requiring hospitalization, or sorry, not hospitalization, just across the board, tested and confirmed positive. 6% were 85 and older, 25% were 65 to 84, 29% of the cases are between the ages of 20 and 44. So the greatest percentage are individuals between 20 and 44 that have been hit by this, and 5% are 19 or younger. And that's a CDC report. You can hit the CDC website if you want more details on that. Now, you'll probably start to hear this tonight on any of the kind of chats, news shows or whatnot. And if you are limiting your news, you'll hear it first. There is a study that came out just a few hours ago on the feeds, and I've linked to it down below, out of China. 48% of the patients with COVID-19 and I'll get to what that means, but essentially 48.5% of the patients actually demonstrated digestive symptoms first. So we are saying that this hits the respiratory system, and that's where we're seeing secondary conditions where folks have pneumonia and they have sepsis, and that's the fatal blow to the growth of this virus and their immunity not being able to impact this. I don't know why audio is not working. Can you guys hear me? Let me know on Instagram. I haven't seen anybody. So I check your mute button. Okay. So sorry, check your audio. It looks like everybody can hear. All right. I'm getting a thumbs up from everybody. So it's probably your phone. Okay. So what this means, 48%. So if you're just joining, welcome. Give me a thumbs up. I'm going to give you some really key, impactful, informative information today. Please share this out on your feeds. I appreciate that because it helps us get this out there. YouTube and not so much Instagram. YouTube and Facebook are censoring, Google are censoring information, unfortunately. So you throwing this out there helps me communicate to folks. So the latest and greatest and newest study right now is showcasing that the symptoms people are initially presenting with are digestive in nature. And I know we had a big freak out about why is everybody grabbing the toilet paper? And that's psychology and manufacturing and just kind of is what it is. But the reality is that these patients that were presenting first with diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain, those are symptoms of the coronavirus. And those individuals that presented with those symptoms first, they had a higher mortality rate. So I think there's going to be more information about it. I really ran through the study. I didn't dig way into it. But basically, I think what we're probably going to see is there's immune system compromised immune system that goes with that. I think we're also going to be looking at folks that maybe have digestive imbalances. And these are all also related to compromised states, weakened immunity. And so I'm not surprised by this, but I think it will change how we, at least here in the US, identify who should be getting tested. And I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten. And even one of my friends from college, she's in New York, she's an attorney up there. And she's like, I'm at home, and she put out a message, and then we DM'd that she feels like she has symptoms. She has a colleague that's been tested positive. She called her doctor and they won't let her get tested. And I think this is going to happen a lot more, which we go back to quarantine yourself, stay hunkered down, be in your homes, and just be really diligent, because there's more and more information as we're learning. I mean, this is just such a rapid fire of just growth, and then knowledge and study from a clinical perspective, epidemiology of understanding the statistics, the way this virus is working, how our immune system works in response to the virus. And so that's something that I think is really important to note. We're going to continue to learn more information, and I will be on top of that as much as I can. I'm trying to balance our life as it's changing with this, but also to equip you all with information sometimes before it hits the news cycle. So that being what it is, I think that's really important. So if you are demonstrating with 101 fever, maybe you've got abdominal cramping, maybe a little diarrhea, and you've got lower GI or even upper GI like vomiting, you want to take action and communicate with your doctor. Now on YouTube, here on YouTube, in the description box, I have linked to that study. I mean, this is just like hot off the presses. So you can click to that study and you could print it. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you have that, the link on hand, have that also printed out. And it's something that if you have any grief, like my friend in New York, send it over to your doctor because they're inundated and they may or may not be up on all the latest, but that would be helpful potentially in you being able to get tested. Hey, everybody tuning in, welcome. Thank you. Okay, so here are some kind of interesting little tidbits of news, and then we'll go into the 10 facts that you probably don't know or are aware of. And again, this is all mobile and moving, so I'm going to dig into that. Then we're going to dig into how to help children and families go through this as we're all working at home in our spaces. So we know here in the US, we've got the military is getting slowly engaged. Military ships, naval ships, hospital ships are going to be moving to the coast, East Coast and West Coast. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks potentially for them to get there, get ready. So that's going to have a lag, but that is in the works. We're seeing a lot of closures. We've just seen the Congress pass a relief bill. It may help us in the interim, but that remains to be seen. And this is impactful. And I consider this a way to have things move a little bit faster. We've seen 2 congressional members test positive, and anytime it hits within their circle, I think they're more apt to get moving to help all of us in the greater community. Okay, so comment down below. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And let me know if any of you have been trying to get tested. I just want to get a sense and a pulse of our community. If you are watching and you're feeling like you've been impacted or have known anybody. So just let me know. Okay, let's move straight into 10 COVID-19 facts that you haven't heard and probably are not aware of. Okay, I'm going to take a little quick swig. I'm drinking coffee this morning. I've got my keto creamer in it. Okay, thanks on the comments, everybody. Okay. All right, so number 1, we discussed this earlier in the week. So if you are new to the show, every morning I'm committed to going live on YouTube and Instagram. I might add some other formats depending on how technologically savvy I can get and screens. But essentially, I mentioned this on Monday, the surface life of this virus can live on surfaces up to 3 days, potentially longer. That is going to greatly impact our everyday world. And I actually shot a video. I'm going to quickly edit it and get it out today about how to keep your home safe from the virus, things to do as you're getting mail and packages and deliveries, as I'm hoping you will consider ordering things and not shopping and ordering things to come to your home instead of being out about in the public because of the surface life and also because of some other reasons. Okay, so number 2, obesity is a risk factor. We haven't heard that so much, but it is definitely showing, especially when it's linked to diabetes or any type of autoimmunity that impacts the metabolic process. What we're seeing is that the cases that have greater co-infections and even the mortality rate is trending to be a little higher on the obesity side. So just be aware of that. In our homes and in our environment, we can stay active, we can exercise, we can still do things that will help support our immune systems and metabolic process to stay healthy. So this is a good time to invest in the time being at home, use digital products to keep your fitness up. 3, warm temperatures outside do not lower your COVID-19 risk. So what that means is a lot of times we say kind of the flu is seasonal. In this case, because of so many factors that we've learned, it does have an airborne quality to it, and it lives on surfaces. The density of our air outside, the humidity level plays a role, but we actually have air conditioning everywhere. And so in air conditioning, it can live and grow and stay in an abundant kind of growth form throughout the summer. And so don't think, oh gosh, the summertime, we're going to be okay in terms of seeing major cases drop, that their projections right now are that that's going to have no bearing. So if you have summer plans like I was supposed to be doing a six-week program in Germany that potentially will be on hold. I'm communicating with the German university where I'll be doing my 6-week program. And that might change everything for all of us in the summer. So just be cognizant of that, okay? Fourth, this is a fact that we aren't really tuned into. COVID-19 is a name. It's the name of the disease the virus causes. It's actually not the true identified name for the virus. The virus name itself is SARS-CoV-2. And because of it, it is a cousin. So this is 5. It's a cousin of SARS. And so we have seen this kind of viral type. It's a different form of virus, but it has relation to SARS. Okay, so COVID-19 is how the World Health Organization has decided to call it, but that COVID-19 is in fact the disease the virus causes, not the virus itself. Okay, so it's just a little semantics, but I think important to know. Number 6. Okay, this is huge. You guys know. Luckily, we had our FedEx delivery. We might have a UPS delivery here. We are in a cul-de-sac, so anytime the trucks roll around, our dogs go crazy. I have 3 dogs, and many of you have asked in this live feed, and even the weeks leading up, I put out my first video about coronavirus at the end of January, and that was, I think, right before we had a case that hit, or we maybe had one case that was out there. So one of the major questions was, can I transfer coronavirus to my pets? And I have new news on that, okay? So take a deep breath. Everybody breathe. We're going to let it out because this might cause you some stress, okay? Cats and dogs can catch this virus. Yes, I did say that. In March, they have shown that a dog in Hong Kong whose owner had coronavirus transferred the virus to the dog. Okay, so there's a rapid mutation, and they've identified this in this particular case. So this is only one case. I don't know how rampant that will be. I don't know the specifics of how the proximity of the dog to the human, but we all have animals, and our dogs, like one of them apparently snuck upstairs last night and was all snuggled up with us. So there's close proximity. So one of the things that I think is really important to note is good hygiene, washing your hands. Okay, this is really, really key if you have pets and you're concerned about your pet's health. The other thing now that we are going to be employing is we're going to use the force of nature. So this is, you guys know, on YouTube, there's a description for this below. They actually have a really good coupon code, and I'll write it down in the description. They're doing a 50% off. I'm just going to give you the code down in the description box. And Instagram, DM me, I can get you this. Force of Nature, they've got a particular coupon code for 50% off a starter kit. This is literally water plus salt and vinegar. And so salt and vinegar plus water, the unit is an electrolyzer, and it literally changes the chemical composition to kill viruses and bacteria, and COVID-19 or coronavirus is in this category. So this is what we will be using on our dogs' pads. Really, it's going to be their pads because we've been taking them walks around our neighborhood. So, all right, I see Rock Rudy. Oh no, I have 3 myself and work for doggy daycare. Okay, so communicate that to the professionals at doggy daycare. I think we're going to need to look at being cognizant. Again, this is one case, but everything is so mobile and changing, and there's so much new information that, I mean, look at our first case. It was like early February, we had our first case, and now we're up to, almost 10,000 cases. So the rapidity of things moving, we've got to take this information and be active, engaging, empowering, and do things to stop the prevention of spread. Okay, so let me repeat that. Number 6, pets. We have seen in March that a dog contracted coronavirus from its owner. Okay, so that's that number 6. 4 and 5, they were together. So 4 is COVID-19 is the name of the disease that the virus causes. Number 4 or 5, and it's also a cousin of the SARS. So that those kind of go hand in hand. Okay, so also what goes hand in hand with number 6, that our pets can possibly be infected, is so number 7 is to look at, and this goes into what I'm going to be producing today for all of you on YouTube about keeping coronavirus out of your home, stopping it at your door. Now we need to look at removing our shoes before entering our homes, because these tiny air droplets, the respiratory droplets, can be on our shoes. And we know, depending on what type of material you're walking on, that the virus lives on surfaces up to 3 days. Sometimes we've seen 9 and 10. So that is really important to note. That also will keep our pets safe. Okay, so notate that is going to be helpful. So take your shoes off. I lived in Japan for a year. Their kind of process, they always have a little shoe caddy. I just say set up like a little, we have tons of bins. Just set up a bin outside your door, and then, inside, you kind of do your swap, get out of your shoes, take your socks off. You might even want to have a little hamper outside your door or outside your mudroom or in your garage, depending on how you're entering your house. Have a little hamper that then all the, socks and whatever you're wearing, you could quickly do a quick change and then throw that into the laundry, heat it up, and you're going to kill the virus. Then in your home, transition into slippers. So like I wear tons of slippers. Brian gives me grief. I have slippers everywhere, slipper socks and slippers, but those can be your inside shoes. So you want to kind of do some separation of inside, outside shoes just to protect your home. That's going to be key. I do see cupcake paper. You can use a UV wand. There are those accessible, and I'll be digging a lot into that. So Pat, you're right. I heard a dog died of the virus. And that is the case that I'm referencing in Hong Kong. Okay. So on a more positive note, number 8, at the current state of this pandemic and the statistics, previous pandemics were worse. Now we're not over this, so this might prove us wrong, but currently H2N2 flu, this was something that happened in 1957. So comment down below, any of you who lived through that, remember that time. So this is a worldwide situation. 1.1 million people died because of that flu. In 1918, we've known it as the Spanish flu, but that's not the name of it. In 1918, this was a 2-year cycle. 50 million people died because of that. And then way back in the old days, the Black Death killed 75 million. Now, a lot of advancements, you kind of advance forward into industrial technology and our awareness of medicine. So we're seeing obviously decrease of that, but that is really, really key. But I want you to kind of take from that some positivity. Oh, thanks, Cupcake Paper. Thanks, Cupcake Paper. That's so sweet. She gave us a super chat, $1.99. Thank you so much. George, the only reason this is an issue is because the media has made it an issue. The media will not let up on this and are pretending to work remote because they're sick. I don't really know what people are pretending to do or not, but the reality is that this is a virus. This is not fake news. And so I definitely want you to be cognizant of the reality of this situation. Okay. All right. Force of nature. I can't link to force of nature. the description box should have it. I apologize if it is not connecting, but I'll make sure I go back and connect that link, but it's there. Okay, so let's see, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so number 9, this coronavirus is less infectious than TB and measles. So I know there's a lot of fear and just concern about, the lifespan of this on materials, surface materials, and the contagiousness of this. It is contagious, but the contagiousness of this remains. The transmission and how it's contagious is through respiratory droplets. So air particles, from our nose, from our mouths, potentially our eye, but mostly our nose and our mouth. When we cough, even breathing, we have water molecules, air that comes out, these little droplets. We call them respiratory droplets. We can't always see it, but that respiratory droplet contains some particle of the virus. And one of the things that we're seeing is that transmission actually requires a large amount of droplets. So large quantity of droplets containing the virus, then that has to interface with eye, nose, or mouth, and interfaces with the mucosal membranes of the person, the host, the new potential carrier of the virus. So it is aerosolized. That means that it lives in the air. And I referenced this yesterday in my live, I believe the day before. We see it lives in the air for 3 hours. And so that's why they're saying you want to be really it's 6 feet. 6 feet is right now what we're recommending, being 6 feet away from individuals. And I think that is very, very important to be cognizant of your interactions. I know many of you are frontliners. I know lots of you are nurses. You're working in the front line, and you're not equipped with the right protective gear. I mentioned the other day, having scarves, like it was St. Patrick's Day and I had my little scarf. The CDC's come out and is making that recommendation. Same with, eye goggles. I mean, it literally, I think we're going to be seeing, because of the decrease of protective gear, equipment for the professionals, and then also us transporting. We, we can protect our kids, we can protect ourselves, we can have, goggles and masks on, literally scuba masks. There's no difference in terms of some of the protective gear than what we already have, but we want to make sure that we protect our eyes, protect our nose and our mouth. The particles, these respiratory particles, can get on material, but you can wash that off. I would much rather have you protect than not. And so if you have to go out and you're transporting, I actually am going to be sending a message to our Instacart. We've been doing Instacart lately. Oh, thanks, Anita. She gave us a $9.99 live chat. I appreciate it. You work so hard for your channel. Really value your contributions. I appreciate you so much, Dr. M. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. And thanks for all of you tuning in and taking time. It's my privilege to be able to do this. I'm grateful. We've got the ability. Brian's upstairs with Gabriel doing his schooling. And I'm here with you every morning at 9 a.m. because we're in it together, friends. You are not alone. We might be socially distancing and isolating ourselves, but we'll get through this together. It requires education. We need to be empowered. We've got to be equipped with the right information. And that's my task, to give you the latest and greatest news for you to be well, and to then take the clinical data, the clinical information that comes out. It's all new. It's ever changing. And to task you with things to do to keep you safe. That's really what I feel like my goal is. So thank you for the super chat. The live chat is on. So thank you. Okay, so my point is, in kind of talking about protection of yourself, I'm going to message Instacart. I've had, I think, 3 shoppers. I'm just experimenting with it because this is all new. But partly for yesterday's video, I did a whole thing on my Instacart delivery and how do I, bring that into the house and keep it free, keep our house free of the virus. And so all of the parties, because I'm kind of monitoring it, none of them have, protection on their hands or the eyes and their mouth. And that's really important. So also we've been walking around, we see our mail carrier. We love her. She's super sweet. She's not protecting herself either. So we can protect ourselves. And I think the onus, it all comes down to us. We have to take care of us and ourselves. We also have to, in turn, that's taking care of everybody else. But, the question is, let's see, Kim Montgomery, does this mean we should wear a scarf to go out to the grocery? Absolutely. I would wear a scarf and put on whatever goggles or glasses you have. I mean, Gabriel, we joke about in our household because Gabriel, over a year, he likes to go outside and mow with Daddy. We put on these like noise protective, like noise canceling earphones, and then we have these like this eye set. I can't find them right now. I was going to grab them before I did this show to show you. I'll follow up on this tomorrow for sure. But one of the things is these goggles. It protects his eyes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, those are things that you can use. I mean, just look around your house, just take a deep breath and assess what you have. I mean, we are from Florida. We all have swim goggles. We all have, scarves and equipment that we could use. I mean, unfortunately, the news last night is crazy. The reports, not the news, but the reports are hospital providers are running low on equipment. Even the protocols of safety, they're saying reuse your masks. Sunglasses are a great example. You can use your sunglasses, but there are like Dale saying, there are many DIY mask videos on YouTube to keep these drops off your face. So that is really important to be able to minimize the transmission. So protection for all of you, if you are going out. Now, if you do decide you need some groceries, or you're kind of considering like, okay, these are my everyday use items and I want to make sure I've got, quantity on hand, think about ordering into your home. I'll put out this video and then guys can watch it and equip yourselves in that way. But just really, really start to restrain yourself in terms of being out and about. Hey, Ray, one of my bridesmaids is on Instacart. Yes, we love Instacart. So here are some questions. Blue Acaro, most people have sunglasses. Kim Montgomery, blue blockers might work then. Heidenmark, my gym wants me to venture out to get blood drawn my GYN wants me to venture out to get my blood drawn for my pregnancy check. Should I venture out? I'm worried about the exposure. I totally get it. So what I would do is, in this type of case, because we all have life happening, I call them and ask them, what type of blood work are you having done? Like, is it crucial blood work where they're, you're early in the trimester and they want to get your values? Or is this just kind of everyday blood draw where they're just checking? So I would assess the necessity of some of the tests you're having. I do know yesterday that some of the medical associations, they're advising like minimal exposure with dentists. So dentists are offsetting some of the procedures. We're also seeing, the elective procedures really decrease because we need the beds. We also need the equipment. So the gloves and the masks and things like that. So I would call and find out. Now, just be really cognizant. You want to do things for your own safety. And it may be something where, blood draws sometimes happen at the hospital. Sometimes they happen at outpatient centers or labs. I would make a call to the lab and say, what is your measure? The phrasing is COVID-19. What are your COVID-19 procedures or protocols that you're implementing? Some labs, and I don't know this by any means, but some labs might be saying, well, we're only allowing 5 or 6 people in a waiting room and we're kind of staging it that way. I don't know, but I think we're going to start to see a trickle down effect for some of these routine, procedures like a blood draw. And I've had a lot of my cancer patients have asked, what do I do if I need my regular mammogram? Do I get that done? Do I go in? And so you don't want to put your health at risk by any means, but you also want to be cognizant. So in the event that you do need to go in, protect yourself. I would have, your goggles or whatever protective eyewear. If you can get it sealed, that's the best. But at this rate, most of a transmission, if you think about it, is going to be straight on. So having glasses that kind of protect you. I have some of these like Jackie O glasses. Anything is better than nothing. Okay. And then also covering your nose and your mouth and then equipping yourself. So I'm planning another video where like I show in yesterday's video, I'm using my gardening like gloves that have the latex on the one part, but the hand part so that I don't get dirt in my glove. This is where I think we're going to be heading in terms of what we need access to or what we already have that can protect us. So just kind of keep an open mind, take a deep breath. We are mobile in terms of this movement and in our protection. So thanks everybody. We've got a big crowd today, so I'm honored by your time. Let me see. I see I've had a hard time connecting with you via email. Okay. I will check it. So right now on these feeds, I'm only focused on the COVID-19, lots of questions as this is global pandemic, but email me and I'm trying to manage all of that. Charlotte Miles, I canceled my dentist appointment yesterday. Want to be safe. Excellent idea. It's just the early standard blood draw first trimester. I would ask and see if you can delay that, if they're okay with that. But again, that's up to you. Talk with your doctor first. I'm not offering any medical advice in this communication. So, okay. Last and final, what we need to be aware of is that hand washing using soap and hot water is one of the best ways to break down the viral shell. So that actually helps kill the virus. It's not so much the heat of the water, but the emulsifying of good hand washing. We had, I think it was Beverly, maybe 3 days ago, that was talking about, the best way to hand wash is to sing the happy birthday song in your washing. That's going to be over 20 to 30 seconds of hand washing. So there is indications that we want to be hand washing longer than normal. I even recommend hand washing on, above like wrist and maybe even to here, because you think about it, like, I'm at my laptop and this area touches the surface. If I'm signing something at a checkout desk, this is going to hit. So it's not just your hands. You want to clean everything that has contact. And I know a lot of people have been talking about, stations in their car. We're going to shoot video. Brian's in training and he's doing a great job. He's my video guy. So we're going to be shooting. I've got it all set up. We just have to shoot. Our neighbor, Claire, so I love her. She was outside doing her own yard work. And so we were too close in that proximity with the noise and stuff. And I didn't have my mics all set up, but we're going to do how to equip your car, how to keep your car safe and have your car be a point of safety for you, all the materials that you need to consider equipping in your car. If you are mobile, if you have to be, if it's not necessary, don't be. I mean, at this point, there are a lot of people that are not being cognizant. They're not being smart. We've seen a lot of spring breakers in Florida on the beaches. It's like horrifying seeing them out there. And who knows what that transmission rate is going to look like, because Florida's not getting enough tests. And it's huge. So Dale's got some great recommendations. He's one of our YouTube members. Dale, thank you so much. Industrial safety glasses wrap around well. Check Harbor Freight. They have gloves too. I'm going to write that down. Harbor Freight. Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right. So Machine Gun Nasty. I'm sorry to say that I don't think there is much possibility in completely halting the virus, only slowing it down. Yes, I think at this point, we're just trying to slow the key, and why we're hunkering down, why you're seeing cities close. It's all about the healthcare community being able to take care of folks in these ICU units. We only have a certain quantity of ICU beds. We only have a certain quantity of ICU related equipment, ventilators. And if we have a mass quantity of people all at once hit the hospital system, we then go beyond the curve. It's the point of being able to handle the quantity. So, you can have the same quantity of people, but stretched out, you're able to manage it better. And that's absolutely. Okay. So Gaffney Melchiori, I work for a large supermarket. We will never close. What can I do? Protect yourself. Eyewear, nose masks, definitely protect yourself. I would have a changing station in your garage where you change. If you're wearing a uniform, change out of that, have a hamper, have protective gloves inside and outside of the home. Take your shoes off, wash your clothing. Heat in and washing kills the virus. So we know from the video that I posted the other day, and I can link to that for YouTube down the road in this video when it goes into editing mode after we shoot. or after the live is finished, I can post that. But I did post in my live a few days ago, the surface life. We know that it does live on clothing and material, plastic and metal has a longer lifespan. So you want to be cognizant of that. Same thing with our shoes. Take your shoes off. Don't wear those same shoes into the home. And that's going to be a way to protect you. We are not allowed to wear eye mask. Okay. Are you allowed to wear glasses? These things still exist. Glasses that don't have scripts would be better than nothing. I mean, I can't see companies saying you can't wear glasses. And what I would do is I talk to management. Just say you're concerned for your health and you want to be able to be in a protective setting. You're a frontliner and we need to protect you. We need to protect this thread. So I would have those conversations. It's possibly a liability for businesses now if they put their employees at risk. I mean, I hate saying that, but the reality is we've already seen this ground zero person in Italy is responsible for so many of the cases, the growth and expansion there, and the deaths. They're on his hands, and he's facing charges for 12 years in imprisonment. We will see that. I would bring that up. Bring that case up. We also have a court-ordered case here in Kentucky. The health department, or no, is it Kentucky or Kansas? It was one of the K states. Hold on, I have that data. These are my show notes. So yesterday it was Kansas. No, not Kansas. Let's see which one. It was Kentucky. There was a case in Kentucky where an individual left the hospital with symptoms and the diagnosis, and he did not quarantine. He did not go home and do the self-quarantine. And the health department went to the judge. They filed a motion and it was approved. He's been ordered to quarantine. So we are going to see that. Kentucky is definitely going to be an indicator of how potentially this will grow out. Okay, so Pat has some awesome recommendations. Pat, thank you. Pat is awesome on our YouTube feed. She always joins us in the live and always has great recommendations. When disinfecting at home, don't forget handles of brushes and combs and toothbrushes, light switches, cell phones, laptops, all handles, knobs on stoves, toaster ovens. Also, I'm going to mention outside your home, the doorbell and your mailbox. So we had one of the Instacarters ding dong our doorbell, and you better bet I brought out my little Dicide wipes. These are wipes I brought in from my clinic, and I wipe the heck out of it. and it sounds cheeky or kind of crazy, but we have to be protective of our homes and our communities, and this is how we do that. Hi, Quick and Easy Kitchen. Let's see. Tony from Florida, please tell her to wear plastic gloves. Yes. Okay. I might have missed that conversation, but okay. So those are 10 tips. Comment down below. Were these tips helpful? Were there any things that you weren't aware of that you've heard? And are you going to be taking your shoes off before you come in your house? Let me know. Okay. So next up, I want to talk about kids and families. This is a big point of stress. Yesterday, we talked about sleep and stress that you can watch on the replay. I have, for all of you who follow me on YouTube, I have a playlist now of our morning live show. So you can watch each of these and kind of backtrack and catch a lot of the data and information I'm imparting to each of you on a daily basis. Plus, I'm shooting regular video and editing it and trying to get out. I won't be able to do every day, but as many days as I can, get you additional information to address a lot of your questions. I'm seeing trends, and so I want to put together impactful, powerful information that you can start to begin to implement. So one of the things that was brought up yesterday as we talked about stress and sleep, a lot of us are at home, like us, working. We're in the digital world. Gabriel's home, Brian's home. Brian's company had somebody test positive with coronavirus, and so they're in full company quarantine, which is crazy. So this is a new kind of way of life, and it causes a lot of stress, and it can cause a lot of distress too. So I wanted to give you some tips, especially for us parents that have kids and are juggling this. We have Gabriel at a school where, they want to do all the regular routines, which are great. That also impacts our regular routines. So we've got to figure out a way to work with this. So I want to go through a little list that I've been kind of running. I've done research as a parent. I've been on the feeds, seeing a lot of my other friends getting really great tips. So this is, at the end of the day, I think what's helpful for families and kids, your single moms, all your families working from home, everybody getting educated at home. One, keep up your routine. So if it's, waking up, what I recommend is actually try and get more sleep. So instead of waking up at the time you might be, because you've got to get kids on buses and you have to commute and transport yourself, use that time to sleep, but then establish a new wake up routine and stick to your ordinary routine. Breakfast, showering, getting dressed, all of those normal routines. Kids are going to really appreciate that kind of routine. It takes an adjustment, but getting into a routine. This goes for all of you adults who don't have kids. Your pets might have a new little routine, but sleep's most important. So get your sleep, maybe set your alarm clock back a little bit and get your sleep. 2, get dressed. So I actually was watching one of the news programs and it was like, okay, you need to get dressed, brush your teeth and wash your face. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. But that's the reality. Just because we're at home, we still need to have our regular self-care routines, our hygiene routines, and then have a healthy breakfast. So start your days with good water, water, coconut juice, do your smoothies, get your healthy breakfast. Kids are going to need that too, because that minimizes the stress. It also supports their body. We might need a little extra protein because the activity levels change in the home setting. And take breaks. So you want to schedule in your breaks, use your technology to put in breaks where you're getting up, you're stretching, you're walking around, you're going outside. The joy of us being at home is we can actually enjoy being out. Even taking breaks to do some laundry or maybe a little cleaning or whatnot can take your mind off of this. We talked yesterday about hobbies as one of our ways to reduce stress. Somebody mentioned doing puzzles and, the adult coloring. That's a great stressor. Or spend more time with your kids because we're here. And as we have family breaks, we can have family bonding. That's a really great way to make this a powerful way of communities and families coming together. Breaks also include walking your dogs. Our animals are very happy with us being home. So take advantage of that and get them out, get the fresh air. If it's comfortable outside and not crazy snowing, get outside and be out there. And, 10, 15, 20 minutes, it'll get your blood flow glowing, do your foam rolling, do your dry skin body brushing with your brush. That's a good way to start to implement these healthy routines to keep you going. The other thing that I want to recommend is exercise. If you have been on an exercise routine, almost all of our gyms are moving now into digital platforms. So take advantage of that. And also take advantage of YouTube, Instagram. I saw 4 of my folks that I am connected with here on Instagram. They were doing yoga and they were doing some fitness stuff of all ages. So that's a benefit to folks that we now can use our technology to connect with people to do exercise. So if you haven't started exercise, this is a good way to help lower your stress levels and be empowered that way. This is a huge thing, is to create space. So, this is effective for folks who work from home ordinarily, but many of us who aren't doing this regularly, go into an office or have some sort of outside the home routine, same with our kids, is to set up quadrants and spaces. So, especially for kids, we want to make sure that they've got a little zone that's strictly their educational zone. And it could very well be putting up, pictures of things that they draw, maybe even ordering online. Like I ordered online some stencils and things like that to help Gabriel with his writing skills. There are tools and things that you can access online through Amazon and some of the, learning centers and programs that cater to kids to set up a little space. If they've got a little desk or a little area, a little nook where they can work. And that's where they go to for that time that they're being educated. And then that's just their education time. And then they can move away from that. So there's some separation because we're day 4 now for most of us being in the home setting. This could be potentially weeks. And for many kids, this is going to be through the rest of the school year and into the summertime. So it's really crucial we begin to develop those routines and that space. Creating that space also allows them to mentally disconnect and they can go somewhere else. And I would even say, let's set up play zones or areas where it's just fun for kids. One of the things that I'm going to start to reach out to the parents in my child's classroom, the school program, he's doing the Google Hangouts and things like that. But I think we need to do Google Hangout and play zones. Like I saw a friend of mine did a happy hour for St. Patty's Day. So instead of all of them gathering in a bar like they would, they did a virtual happy hour. I think we're going to start to see kids doing play zones. I have to apologize. I have like a little something in my eye. My contact's been bothering me today. So I gotta fix that when I'm done. So consider that. That might be something that could be very impactful for your kids. And then also, we are going to the park when it is nice. Like it's been a little yucky here, but getting outside the home in a safe way, obviously doing all of the taking your shoes off and whatnot. I will tell you tomorrow, we're going to talk about more protective gear. That's going to be definitely, I'm writing this down as our main topic of like how to protect yourself. And then we can also dig into the homes and the cars. But I definitely want to have you consider taking your kids outside the home, getting them out and about, being in the yard, playing. And then to that note too, if you can, and you've got space, let's start our pandemic gardens. So, if you are going to, let's do a hashtag pandemic garden. This is a way to get us outside, to get us connected with earth, to get grounded, but also to have some peace of mind that we will be growing vegetables and food and sustenance for ourselves in the event that supply chain does start to be minimized, that we can feed ourselves. And that's something that we saw way back in the wartime. I think we're going to see more folks starting to do that. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. I think it's great with kids to get them encouraged and engaged with that. You can educate them a lot with that. Also consider bringing your kids. I actually saw a friend of mine did this with her daughter, day 2, she did not want to do her schoolwork. And so her mom was like, okay, look, these cherries here, tell me, research about them. Tell me which one, what about the cherry is good or bad, and find a recipe and make me a lunch with it. And I thought that was brilliant. Like her kids are, in late elementary, early middle school, and we can start to use cooking and involving our kids in cooking healthy food and starting to serve as an educational resource. So a lot of us parents are putting on like the home educator hat. And I think that's something to consider, that we may also be extending that into everyday home activities. So I want to answer questions. I'm seeing a lot of questions. Okay, so let's go to YouTube. We've got a lot of questions here. Crystal, in order to kill the virus off surfaces, I was made aware that you have to wipe the area for 3 to 5 minutes. What do you think about that? I haven't seen yet any data on the quantity of time wiping the surface down. I do know that if you use a disinfectant like Force of Nature, it's killing it. Like I show in yesterday's video, I wiped down like a package that came in the mail, and it's plastic, and I just wipe it down with a very saturated cloth. Ethanol, hydrogen peroxide, and bleach, those 3 things independently and together can kill this virus. So that's huge. The other thing too, and because we know the soap will break it down off of our hands, I think if in that case, that might be something where, soap and water, 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, maybe that's what is being used, because so many people ran out of the ordinary supplies that we would have, a lot of the Clorox wipes and bleach and stuff like that. But Force of Nature is a good alternative for minimizing the exposure and killing the virus. So I put that out there, and there's a link in the description box here on YouTube. Okay, so Whitney, hey Whitney, she's down in Florida. Regarding liability, an infected Northrop Grumman employee worked in 2 out of the campus's 8 buildings in Melbourne while exhibiting symptoms. Lovely. Same thing happened at Brian's work. We're gonna hear more of this. And so it becomes really important that if we are working or we have to work, we can't take it home, that we protect ourselves, because the reality is that there are a lot of idiotic people. And I say that in a very loving way, but there are people who are not educated. There are a lot of people who don't think this is anything serious. And then there's a lot of selfish people who don't even care about anybody else. And then there are a lot of people who are unfortunately in the economic situation where they have to work. And, we don't know if there will be any type of government related assistance. We can't always rely on that. So they don't have always the ability to make the choice to be home. A lot of service workers, a lot of folks on the front line don't have that ability. So we have to encourage them to equip themselves to be safe and to be smart about using protective gear. So I am Felicia Butts. You can order Force of Nature. DM me. I'll send you a direct link. I've got on Instagram, it allows me details in the description box. I can put links to things I talk about. There's a link to that research study that just came out about the percentage of patients demonstrating digestive challenges, that those tend to be the ones that have the higher mortality rate. That, we do know coronavirus as a viral impact on the respiratory system, but we're seeing it in the digestive system. That is linked down in the description box below. Okay, so Ivy, hi Ivy. What shall we clean our floors with? Getting down on carpet. I need to clean my carpets with natural hydrogen peroxide, lemon, essential oil, Dawn dish soap, DIY. Recommendation for washing floors. That's a good recommendation. So steam cleaning, we actually use a heat steam cleaner. I think that's the best option because we know the virus cannot live and is killed at 137 degrees Fahrenheit and higher. So a steam cleaner would be your best solution because of some of the lack of having hydrogen peroxide, and some of those oils might ruin floors or whatnot. That would be my number one recommendation. The disinfectants that you're going to see in industrial grade, like Brian's Company. We even saw this in Gabriel School when they closed down because of the norovirus like a month and a half ago. Maybe it was 2 months ago. I don't know. Time's flying. But I know these companies go in and they will steam everything, and then they will wipe everything down. So flooring, my recommendation is steam cleaning the floors. Okay, let's see, Anita. What if? Okay, so depends on the kind of spray. Let's see. The cloth cleans and wipes up all bacteria and unless properly washed. Okay, so the big thing is heat will kill the virus. So washing, put all your clothing, if you are outside the home, working outside the home, wash your clothing, take it off immediately. Have a changing station outside of your home, in the garage, wherever it might be. Have a changing station, and then wash your clothing in super hot water. So put it on the hot cycle, and then drying it will kill the virus. Shoes off outside. So don't take your shoes into your home. That was one of the facts that I mentioned today. What if? Just bring your own wipes to the stores and go from there for your shopping carts. Yeah, actually, I would not shop. I mean, really, I can't say this any clearer. And so this is all like all caps exclamation. Don't shop in the stores. If you can order online, order through Amazon, order through Instacart, order through the shipped, go that route. You are safer that route. And then you can watch the video I'm going to put out today that shows you how to clean everything and what to use before you bring those items into your home. So that's my communication for all of you. Naomi, is not having a spleen put you at a higher risk? Yes, actually, yes, it does. And Brian is in that case where his autoimmune disorder that he had as a young child, he has multiple spleens with cysts and stuff on them. Those have all been removed. And yes, it does put you at a greater risk. So you want to make sure you're immune modulating, using the mushrooms. And I actually put that on another video. So grab the playlist. I think the second video, Monday's video, I detailed that further. And definitely for all of you, I do have a free download. I don't know where my, I think I moved it. I moved it off this desk, but there's a free download. It's called my antiviral checklist. in the description box below for YouTube. You can grab it. It's totally free. It's like 6 or 7 pages. Instagram, if you want that, DM me and you can download that for free. All you have to do, if there's a landing page, you type in your name and your email, it gets emailed to you. And then there's a series of emails that have additional information, additional resources. So all of that's very helpful. Christy, I'm having trouble ordering anything online for groceries and such. Everything is either out or backed up for a week or so. I'm actually going to, let me write that down. I actually have some workarounds to that. I'm trying to be ahead of the curve. So I'm going to give you some savvy ways and things to consider when, kind of getting the items that you need. So I'm going to write that down, shopping. Okay, so Instagram is going to be heading off in 20 seconds. So I want to try and keep everything in an hour. So here's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about protecting you personally, protect yourself from the virus, protecting your homes from the virus, and then we might dig into a little bit of some shopping tips. So I hope this was helpful. Instagram, you can watch this on the replay for 24 hours, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so Instagram is done. Let me just save this. So Instagram, let's see. Oh, I think here, let me just share it. Okay, so I'm sharing that to Instagram, share story. So with Instagram, they only do an hour live and it shuts me off. But with all of you here on YouTube, I'm going to be going live. I'm going to have a private live chat with my YouTube members. So if you are members like Lois and Charla, I polled everybody on the member community tab. I'm going to really dig into a lot of your questions, Dale. So if you aren't a member, please consider joining me. I'm going to do another really in-depth kind of live Q&A session at a time that's convenient for everybody. But tomorrow at 9 a.m., tune in. I'll be giving you more information. I'm staying up on the latest research. Again, like today's research, that is accessible down in the description box. Grab it, print it. And do encourage your friends to read it, email it over to friends and family members, even your doctors. Hey, Stacy, welcome. So what I want to encourage you to do is just be safe, friends. Consider taking your shoes off. Watch for more video content apart from our live content. I'm going to be equipping you with a lot of great information to keep you healthy and safe. And despite the censorship that's happening on these platforms, it's insane, but we're here to give you information that can empower you and your family. And we're all getting we're getting through this together. So stay safe, friends. The code for it's sanitize. Okay, sanitize. I'm gonna do that. So if you want to get your force in nature, this is so powerful. Grab this. This will help you clean your home, clean your shoes, clean your pets, because now we know that there's been one confirmed case of transmission from human to a dog in Hong Kong. You can clean, this is safe enough for your pets. You can clean their paws with this. So please do be safe, friends. Stay hunkered down, limit your exposure, encourage your friends and family to stop meeting face-to-face, 6 feet away. Go on walks with friends and neighbors, being 6 feet away. But definitely, we've got to clamp down in terms of our mobility, and it's for short term. It's going to benefit the greater good, the greater whole, and it will keep us all safe. So I do hope you guys tune in again tomorrow at 9 a.m. and look for a video today about how to keep your home safe and keep the virus out of your home so that you can get through this on the healthy side. All right, friends, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Be well, and I will see you then.